Yo, I have a kind of crazy story I want to tell you guys. And it's regarding one of my interactions with a woman from Nigeria. And a few years ago, back in like 2017, whatever, it was the summer of 2017. And I ran across this Nigerian woman. I approached her and we started to have a conversation. And in the conversation, I eventually found out that this Nigerian woman was is from the same village as my father. You know, my father was from Nigeria, and this lady, this Nigerian lady, is from the same village as my father. And, I was kind of shocked that I actually met someone from my father's village. So that was kind of cool. And she told me that she lives with her sister and sister's husband. And she told me that her sister's husband is a Black American man. And some months passed by, like 5 or 6 months passed by, and I'm talking to my friend about this Nigerian lady from my father's village that I ran across. And, my homie, he's Nigerian, and he told me that he ran across the same lady, the same Nigerian woman. And he told me, and I told her, and I told him that this Nigerian lady is from my father's village and all that stuff. And I told her that she lives with her sister and her sister's husband, and her sister's husband is a Black American man. But he ended up telling me that she told him that her sister's husband is actually a white guy. So I was like, oh wow. She potentially lied to me. I told my Nigerian friend, like, oh, this Nigerian lady, she told me her sister's husband is a Black American guy, but my homie told me that she told him that her sister's husband is a white guy. So if she lied to me about her sister's husband's race, like really, why would she lie to me about her sister's husband's race? You know, she must, this Nigerian lady must have felt guilty about something if she lied to me about her sister's husband's race. Like, why else would you feel the need to lie about your sister's husband's race, about your sister's husband at all? Why do you feel the need to lie about him to me? Unless you feel guilty about something, you know. So with my logic, with my way of thinking, I'm thinking she's trying to hide something. You know, what is she trying to hide? Why did she lie to me about her sister's husband's race, this Nigerian woman? She must feel guilty. She must not want me to know something, you know. If her sister's husband is indeed a white guy and they all live together, you know, a white guy living with two African white guy living with two African sisters, that doesn't sound right, right? That kind of sounds funny in a sense. And she know that doesn't really sound right. If you tell most people that a white guy is living with two African sisters, they're gonna assume that some freaky shit is going on. Like, you know, and she probably felt guilty. She probably had some sort of sexual relation with her sister's husband or whatever. That's what I think. So she felt the need to lie to me about her sister's husband's race. A lot of these black women or whatever, a lot of them, they love white guys or whatever, and black women, they'll give sex to a white guy. They'll do sexual things or do things with a white guy easier than they would do things with a black guy. This Nigerian woman, she probably slept with her sister's husband before. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, if that white guy has, white guys, they could have their way with black women a lot of times. And they could probably have been doing some freaky shit, like having threesomes. That white guy was probably fucking both of those Nigerian sisters together or whatever, right? A white guy living with two African sisters. A white guy can have his way with two black women, because black women acquiesce to white men. So he probably had his way with both of those sisters, and they probably were doing stuff together. So this Nigerian lady knew to lie to me about her sister's husband's race. Because if she would have told me that that she was living with her sister and her sister's white husband, two African sisters living with one white guy, with no one else to see what they're doing in that house alone, some freaky sexual shit is happening. And she already know that I would have first thought about that if she would have told me her sister's husband is white. So she knew to lie to me and say that his sister's husband was a black American man. And that's some freaky shit. Two sisters sleeping with the same guy? Like, why else would a woman lie about her sister's husband if they didn't do anything sexual together? Like, really? That's how I think, at least. So a lot of these women are freaky, man. They'll do freaky stuff with their own family members. And that shit is just some crazy shit. And I told my homie that that's what probably went down. And he was saying, man, like, you don't know what that went down. Some people have morals. But, man, I know how these black women are with the white guys. White guys can have their way with black women. And why else would she had lied to me about her sister's husband's race if she didn't feel guilty? She felt guilty because she probably has done stuff with her sister's white husband. Two African girls living with her white husband. Two African women living with one white guy. And you already know, black women, they acquiesce to white men more than they acquiesce to black men. So that white guy had his way with those two African women living in the house alone with no one else to see them. Imagine what they were doing with that white man. If I'm a white man and I know I have a privilege and I'm living with two black women alone, man, that dude was fucking those two African girls. And if she told me her sister's husband's race, if she would have told me that her sister's husband was a white guy, the Nigerian lady, she already knew. I would have knew like what was going down immediately. Like you tell anyone with some common sense, and they know the racial dynamics of the society, of the power that a lot of white men have in the sexual market. If she would have told that to most people would have knew like two African women living with one white guy, man, some crazy stuff is going down in that household. Like people ain't dumb, people know what's going on, man. And that's just some freaky shit, man. These girls are some freaks.